Welcome to the Merch Minds podcast, where we discuss everything about the Merch by Amazon business and the print-on-demand industry. Here are your hosts, Glen and Yong.
What's up, everybody? Merch Minds episode 11. My name is Glenn with the YouTube channel Hustler Hacks. I'm here with Yong.
Hey.
And it is December 7th.
It is.
And a lot of updates going on with merch overall and sales and Q4 and a whole bunch of stuff. But today we're going to be talking about typography, kerning, serif, sans serif, great fonts, crappy fonts, and everything in between.
Absolutely. So, my name is Yong, and I'm here with my boy, Mr. Hustler Hacks, and let's just get down and dirty and talk about our numbers here like we normally do. So, man, how are you doing?
Q4 has changed things, of course, boosted up the numbers. The last time we talked, I think I was around 500 something sales per week. Now I'm at about like 600 something sales per week. I was almost at 700, but I was just short. So averaging around $3,500 to $4,000 a week profit. Which is
that is just
totally different. I know, totally different from the last couple of months, because that was like I was making like $5,000 to $6,000 the whole month. So obviously Q4 has boosted that up tremendously.
Now, did you say how many shirts you have live at the moment?
Actually, I was going to talk about that probably on the channel too. Is that they finally took down the shirts that were pending for removal. I hadn't gotten it until finally 3 days ago. So at one point I was at 3,900 shirts live, I think. Now I am down to, I think, 1,400 shirts.
Wow.
So just to show you how many did not sell.
Right. No, that's quite significant.
But almost half.
Yeah, no, but I think that's the case for everyone, because I mean, everyone that I've spoken to and other Facebook groups that I've been looking at, everyone, their shirts have been pulled down. So it's not just us, and obviously this is something that Amazon implemented about a couple of months ago now. Basically them saying that whatever shirts that doesn't sell within 60 days, they're going to remove it. And obviously they kept their promise and removed all the shirts that haven't sold within 60 days. So my numbers, I was obviously hit with the same purge. So I was up around 350 shirts, I believe. Now, mind you, about a month ago, I was maxed out at 500. So the first purge took me down to about 3 something, and I slowly started uploading some shirts again that I knew had potential. So I think I was right around 340, 350 last week.
Okay.
And I'm currently at, I think, 240, something like that.
Okay.
So basically I have about half filled for the 500 slot. And my numbers spiked tremendously. I think, first of all, I recall last episode we had talked about my goal of 1,200 last month. And I can't remember if we had talked about that, but I surpassed my goal and I made about 1,350 for last month.
Dang, son.
Right? Huh. And as of now, today, as Glenn said earlier, is December 7th. The month is still young. And as of now, at the pace that I'm currently going, I'm on pace to do about 2,800 this month. And if you guys recall, last month, I gave myself a goal of doing 2K this month. So I'm at the current pace, on pace to do well over the 2K mark.
That is awesome. And what do you think about? Okay, so you're on pace to do it. Well, what do you think what's going to happen the last 7 days of the month? You Think it's gonna slow down after the Christmas stuff?
I think for the first week or two after Christmas, things will still be good. But if it's anything like FBA, I do know that the numbers will drop significantly at some point.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, you know what? This is Q4. Obviously, this is when people are buying not just shirts, but toys and gifts, and so these numbers were expected. But I have to admit, I didn't expect how I didn't expect this large of a number. Like I wasn't expecting to sell, like 20 shirts per day. And I think again, my mind is just all over the place right now. I just got back from my trip from Nashville, so
That's right.
so I'm still somewhat jet lagged and sleep deprived, so I can't really remember what we talked about last episode. But I mean, I think the numbers. I just lost my train of thought. But anyways, yeah. So basically, this is the type of week I'm having, right? But the numbers will drop, in my opinion. I remember what I was gonna say. Cyber Monday. I always knew of Cyber Monday, but I personally never shopped on Cyber Monday, so I never personally experienced it. The Cyber Monday that I experienced on for merch. Oh my gosh! I mean, that just pretty much validated that people do buy just random stuff on Cyber Monday, because some of the shirts that I was selling was just, I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, who would buy this and give it as a present? But at the same time, I'm like, hey, I don't care, because this is all income. So yeah, I mean, Cyber Monday, I sold like about 25 shirts, and then this past Sunday I sold 23 shirts. Again, guys, you guys, I mean, not Glenn, hustler hacks type of numbers, but you have to remember, like I just said about 2 minutes ago, I only have about 240 shirts live at the moment. So for having that amount of shirts, I think I've done okay.
Yeah, doing good and projecting some goals where you're gonna go over, and hopefully you can dominate 2 to 3 grand, close out the year. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, having that 2-3K in the checking account would be really nice. I mean, granted, I mean we have to do our we have to pay Uncle Sam a good portion of that. So I'm not gonna spend all of it. But still, I mean, this is income that wasn't there, last month. It wasn't there 2 months ago. So, and it's been relatively easy. I mean, all I've been doing is just designing t-shirts on a computer. No physical labor involved. Not that there's anything involved with physical labor. I've been working since I was 12, so so I know what it's like to be a working man. But yeah, no, this is has been a big surprise. Again, somewhat unexpected, because I didn't expect those kind of numbers. But yeah, like I said, I'm currently on pace to do about 2,800. It'll be nice to do about 3,000, because I'll be so close. But as we all know, again, today being December 7th, I'm sure everyone sees it in the dashboard that merch or Amazon, whatever you want to call them, there's a message on the dashboard saying that they've froze the uploading aspect of the business or whatever you want to call it, the business or whatever.
Yeah, that was exactly what I wanted to get to. Is just the fact that this was posted on the 5th. That they suspended the ability to submit t-shirts or edit existing listings. You'll be able to save these products in draft form and submit them when publishing resumes. We will provide an update here on Friday, December 9th regarding the status of new submissions and edits. And then they followed that message with another message just when you thought that one was enough.
Yeah, I can't quite remember what it said, but it was something about some of your shirts that are currently live would not be uh, available or visible to customers, um, because of capacity issues, obviously. So
Yeah. Yeah, let me read that one for
yeah,
to you.
yeah.
In order to ensure customer orders are shipped on time, we have reduced availability of some T-shirt sizes and colors. During this time, these shirts will show as currently unavailable
hmm
on the product page.
Yeah, and that kind of sucks, the whole timing, right? Especially when, and I think I speak for everyone that's doing merch. Like everyone's doing so good on merch. I think the timing is just god awful. But you know what? And we said this 100 times, right? As much as we like merch and as much as we like Amazon, uh, at the end of the day, you and I said this many times, Glenn. It's their platform. They control it. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And
it's
I think with this one, like last Q4, we weren't selling shirts. This is our first Q4.
mhm.
But I'm sure Amazon knew it was gonna get this crazy, right? I mean, Q4 is always the busiest time, but I wonder how backed up they are to print how many, t-shirt orders. I'm pretty sure it's insane right now. But do you think they pretty much knew this was gonna happen, right?
um, it's just hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, obviously, with FBA, I know this for a fact that they always hire seasonal
Yeah.
employees for the holidays. Um, Now, do they do that for merch? I don't know. I mean, the merch side of Amazon's been relatively secretive, in my opinion. I mean, you don't get that much information as you do uh, with the FBA side, right? I mean,
Hmm.
I mean, I can go on Google right now and do a search for Amazon FBA, and I probably get thousands of results. But then if I do a search for merch by Amazon, I probably won't get as much.
Yeah.
But because, like you said, it's still relatively new, and so I don't know. It's just really hard to say. I mean, are they hiring seasonal employees? I don't know. That's actually a good question. Um, but I'll tell you one thing. It'll be really interesting to see what those warehouses look like right now. I mean, I'm sure it's a damn zoo. People just running over each other trying to fulfill orders. I mean, it has to be quite a sight. Uh,
Oh man, that would be awesome to get like a little live camera, a little live
something,
feed to see what's
something.
going on in those warehouses.
Yeah,
But yeah, those
yeah.
are the updates from Amazon and merch and what's going on. But I did get a couple of emails, and I also saw them in a couple of like the Facebook groups about suspended accounts. And one of the emails I got from
Oh man.
Jim, hopefully Jim, if you're listening, he had asked me a question. I think it was the first shirt that he ever uploaded. He had said that he didn't have anything to do with trademark copyright issues, at least to his knowledge. But it could be anything. He uploaded one shirt and he had got the message that his account had been suspended.
Oh gosh.
Um, I know, and the thing is that he's not the only one. I saw at least 2 to 3 other people in different Facebook groups that had uploaded. Well, I saw two different ones. Another guy that had been on there for a good while already, selling different amount of shirts, and then another person that had uploaded like 1 to 2 shirts and had already gotten suspended. So that's either they're kind of cracking down on every little thing now, like keyword stuffing, trademark, copyright, a lot of everything that we talked about in the terms. Maybe they're finally getting around to all of that, or I mean, I don't know. Maybe it just seems kind of weird to give someone 1 or 2 warnings before taking them off completely, because there's some people that have gotten a bunch of warning emails. They'll
Yeah,
finally
yeah.
they take them off, but to do 1 or 2 shirts, I don't know. It just seems a little weird, but apparently that it's kind of happening at least in the last week or so.
Man, that sucks. And again, see, this is see, and that's what makes me nervous about. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love merch. I love the opportunity that's been presented to us. but that's what really makes me nervous. Is how do I know what I uploaded is against their terms of policy, right? I mean, or terms of service. Um, I mean, I know for a fact all my designs are original. Because I've done them. I've done every single one myself.
Yeah.
Um, but for instance, what if I made a shirt about uh, the 49ers, even though I didn't use the word 49ers,
Yeah.
but it's maybe like it's on the gray line or the shaded area. I mean, how do I know that's not going to get me
Suspended.
get my account suspended? So it's just it's I love the opportunity that's been presented to us, but at the same time, it's like it just makes me on the edge to know that my account can be suspended. And we all know episode 3. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it. It's been suspended once already, and not because of merch, but again, I don't want to go into full details. But if you guys want to hear that story, go back to episode 3. Um, but um, but yeah, this is why I think. Well, I don't think I know. On next year, I have to really focus on other platforms, like getting my designs on the other platforms like Redbubble and Printful is another one of them, because
Yeah.
it's just good to really, again, we say this in the reselling community a lot. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Really diversify your income portfolio. And I just really wish Amazon would loosen the grips on some of their policy, because I think some of it is really unfair. Like you said, like the emails that you've been getting about people getting their accounts suspended after like two warnings or something. I
Yeah.
think that's just really unfair. I've gotten probably about a half a dozen myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it makes me nervous. Like what's gonna happen? You know, the next time I get a warning, are they going to suspend my account too? I mean, isn't this something that makes you nervous, Glenn?
Oh
Especially
yeah. I mean,
with the type of numbers that you're putting up.
oh yeah. I mean, putting up big numbers and even for the people that waited for, I don't know, 4, 6, 8 months to get approved, you finally get approved, you upload your first
Mm-hmm.
shirt and you're already gone from the platform.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's harsh. It's tough. We always talk about that it's their platform and everything, but that's the one thing that we did talk about for quite a while on one of the shows, was that we just don't know how many warnings you get before you're
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
And it could be, my next warning, your next warning. And we talked about the gray area, the trademark website or Trademarkia or all that stuff. I mean, there is some like shady stuff because you don't know everything. I mean, art, when it comes to art and stuff, there is like, a gray area because I don't know, infringing and things like that, and parodies, and they talk about this stuff all the time, but really it's like it comes down to like the courts pretty much to come down to say what would count or not, if it comes down to like a lawsuit. But
Yeah. And maybe that's an episode that we'll do here in the near future about copyrights and all that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it makes you nervous, and it's just again, if um, Glenn, again, if you lost your account, Glenn and we're in the same boat as you guys. I mean, it's not like uh, you know, we're not in the same boat. Like Glenn said, our account can be suspended tomorrow. And again, that's what really pisses me off about Amazon, because, as content creators and third-party sellers, if you're doing FBA, uh, we provide Amazon so much money, so much revenue, and I think it's really unfair how they treat us, as far as again, content creators and sellers for them. You would think that they would treat us a little better, um, but of course, their whole uh, business plan is to always satisfy the customer first, and I get that, but at the same time, you have to give us the same courtesy, uh, as people who are making you that money. Um, but you know what? we can scream, we can shout. At the end of the day, it's really is their platform, and there's nothing we can really do about it.
I mean, they're giving us just an awesome opportunity. I mean, I don't have anything to complain about any of that stuff because I know that. I mean, Glenn from Hustler Hack selling T-shirts is probably like 0.005% of what money they actually make. So if me or you or other people might be suspended, it's probably not a huge deal to them because they're gonna make, who knows how much money every single year without us anyway. But I guess my only thing is just comes down to warnings and suspensions just to kind of know a little bit more about that. So you're a little bit more aware. And not just kind of wondering, hey, am I going to have this income next month or not? That's really tough. So
no, I get what you're saying. So you just want a little
clarity,
a little more clarity, a little bit more of a precise guideline, like them saying after 20 after 21 is your account, will be at risk. I totally get it.
Yeah, and you can go the same way with all the shirts that are up there right now selling for big bucks, ranked in the top 1,000 that have like trademarked logos and stuff.
Yeah,
like it goes the same way. I mean, why aren't those taken down? So exactly. it could go, I don't know, both ways for clarity and reasons like that. And those people eventually might get taken down, but who really knows?
Yeah.
Only them, not us.
And you know what? If you, the listener, if you're the person who's gambling with your account and saying, oh, well, I can keyword stuff for the next couple of weeks, and taking that risk, you're probably the one that's ruining it for everyone. Seriously, if you're the one that's and again, the policy is right there for you in black and white. It's just a couple of clicks away. And if you're the one that's doing all the keyword stuff, man, and using copyrighted images and all that, you're the one that's ruining it for all of us. This is why Amazon, in my opinion, is they're the ones that's implementing all these strict and harsh policies. So if your account, if you're the ones that's practicing those practices, and your account got suspended, I don't feel bad for you. I really don't. My whole thing is, look, you're in business for yourself. Use your best judgment. And I've Glenn, I'm sure you even heard this. I've heard stories about how someone will have an original design, and then a copycat will come in and then report the original designer as a copycat just to get rid of them. And if you're one of those people, I'm a firm believer that karma's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And again, I hope it does, and I hope your account gets suspended.
Man, Young's just, it's supposed to be the holiday season, and he's just like, he's going off on these copyright guys. And
hey, you know what? This ain't the Oprah Winfrey show, okay? We get down on this show. We get down and dirty. We don't mess around.
This is Merch Minds.
Oh gosh. Okay, man. I thought we were on the Geraldo or something. The Jerry Seinfeld show or something. But no, man. No, real quick though. I seriously though, if you guys, if you're the type of person who's doing some shady stuff like that, man, just cut that crap out, man. Just be honest and conduct business the right way.
Yeah, and if you are one of the ones that maybe you did get suspended, but you're not really sure why, let me take a look at your listing or anything that you, or the design or something. Email me, hustlerhacks1@gmail.com, and I'll take a look at it. Or if you're unsure about anything that you have listed right now that you're kind of like, oh, I don't know, should this be on here? What do you think about this? Email me. I'm happy to help you out any way that I can. So that you don't get suspended.
Okay. Well, there you go, guys. The show is over. Bye. No, I'm just joking.
But hey, keep up those good numbers, Young. I'm glad that you're dominating. The Jordan 11 Space Jams come out on the 10th of this month. Since you are dominating, and if you come by El Paso, that would be an awesome awesome gift for your co-host here.
Oh, hey, you know what?
And you know,
You know what? And I'm glad you mentioned that. So what Glenn is referring to is I will be in El Paso, Texas, for the Sun Bowl, which is December 30th, Friday, December 30th. So if anyone is in that particular area and you guys want to meet up, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to. But let's get on with the show, man. We're gonna
all
talk.
right.
Excuse me. We're gonna talk typography. Glenn, I know you got this email because she sent it to both of us. There was a lady by the name of Lori. Lori, a big shout out to you. Thank you so much for listening. She was asking about typography. Okay, so we're gonna get into typography and talk about just some of the basic stuff. I mean, it's not rocket science, but there are some things that people should know about type. So
Yeah, I think even going through graphic design school, I was like, I mean, what is there to really learn? Like, I'm just gonna type it out and
yeah,
right, like I
yeah.
just type it. Like, what
Mhm.
what do I have to know about any of this stuff? Next thing you know, I had a whole course on it, making
Yeah,
books and stuff. So
yeah.
yeah, what do you want to start off with?
Okay, so let's talk about the variations of type. So, I mean, on the top of my head, there's about, and I again, I'm just thinking out loud here. I know that there's more than six. I mean, we're talking sans serif. There's dingbats. Oh gosh, help me out here, Glenn. Uh, there's novelty fonts.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on. But I think the two
Script
most,
fonts,
yeah,
display
script.
fonts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I believe that the two most common ones that everyone is familiar with is sans or serif or
Yeah.
sans serif, depending on what you want to call it.
Mhm.
So yeah, so let's talk about those. What is a sans font?
Like a sans serif font would be. I mean, I only knew them from like the differences with like the little, and this is kind of hard to even say because we're trying to describe what this typeface looks like. I mean, I'm looking at you, but no one else can see us. So it would be kind of like the little, oh man,
Okay,
like
you know what? How about this? Let's start with a serif font, because I think describing a serif font would be a little more easier.
yeah,
So so a serif font is they're fonts that has little tiny stems on it, right? Like for
yeah,
instance, on the letter T, on the capital T, they would have stems at the top of the T, both on the left and right hand side. It would have a stem on the bottom of the T, the foundation of the T. Um, and a good example would be Times New Roman. Okay, if you're on your computer, open up your computer, and I believe everyone has Times New Roman uh, on their computer. So open up your computer, look at your Times New Roman, and you'll see those little stems that I'm talking about.
yeah. So the ends kind of have like a stroke to it, kind of like it
Hmm.
has like only to the ends of the letters. So you're talking about Times New Roman. We're talking about. I mean, I guess you could add like Baskerville as another font that is
Hmm.
a serif font. Um, what else am I looking at? Garamond,
Garamond
Century.
Palatino. I think I pronounced that right.
Mhm.
Is it Palatino? I can't remember. Um, but again, just if you're in front of your computer, open up, just find Times New Roman, and that's what a serif font looks like. They have um, a little more curvature. It's a little bit more I'm not going to say it's more robust, but I mean, you can distinguish a serif font because of the stems that they have. Um,
Yeah, more than likely you'd probably see them. I guess kind of like not old school, but I
no,
don't know.
no,
I
it's
guess
old
I've
school.
seen them
No,
kind of more, maybe more of like professional, older type of like documents or posters or
yeah, I'm
you're not gonna
thinking,
see them in like modern, more than likely. I mean,
yeah,
modern is more of like sensor of that you would see it on.
right. I think what Glenn is saying is, for instance, a Bible, typically, in my experience, would probably use a Times, not Times New Roman, but they would use a serif font
Yeah.
because it has that old look and feel to it, right?
Yeah, kind of like that old business printing type of feel, I guess, that you can tell the difference of with the strokes on the ends of each letter. So what about sans serif?
Okay, so sans is, and the reason why it's easier to always describe serif a serif first is because we just said they have stems on it. A sans font is the complete opposite. They don't have any stems on it. They're more modern looking. Okay, and I guess a good example would be
Helvetica.
Helvetica, yeah, or Arial. Those are good examples. Again, those are common fonts that most people should have on a computer. Again, a little more modern. Those fonts will be used for things that are, in my opinion, and I don't want to use the word modern again, but something a little more up to date. So yeah, I mean, so those are the two more popular type of fonts that people use within design. Again, we talked about just do your own homework. There are a lot more. But then you also have the type families, right? For instance, again, I'm going to use Times New Roman as an example. Within Times New Roman, you have various variations, right? You have all kinds of variations. You typically call those type families. So, for instance, Times New Roman. Under Times New Roman, you now have the Times New Roman italics, Times New Roman bold, Times New Roman italic bold. Those are all variations. So that would be considered a family of the original font. So that's just a quick history on or education on type. Now let's talk about, I think if I recall, Lori was asking, well, how do I know what type to use within a design? You want to take this one, Glenn?
Well, I think that's going to have to come down to also your idea and what you're kind of basing that on. I mean, there are some other good fonts out there that I mean, those are just kind of like the basic ones. When you're talking about creating like a flyer, brochure, things like that, I mean, more than likely, you only have maybe like, I don't know, like 10 different fonts that are really like common that you would use. I mean, there's so many different fonts out there that are pretty much useless when you kind of think about it, because you're not going to, at least you shouldn't be using like Comic Sans on a brochure or something like that. I mean, you wouldn't use that.
I would slap someone if they did that.
We're going to talk about the crappy fonts a little bit later, which that is part of it. But I mean, you wouldn't use something like that. So what would you want to use? I guess when it comes to the design, I think a lot of the sans serif fonts are pretty popular. That I've seen most designers or the t-shirts and different platforms use. Well, I guess what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say it's really up to the person that's designing it. I mean, everyone has a different approach to design, but I think typically the common practice is you want to use serif to create a more outdated look. Again, I mean, earlier we referred the Bible. The Bible's been around for years, so typically they'll use the serif font because that it just makes it look more classical, I guess. If that's the term that I want to use, a little more, a little more mature, a little bit more, dated. But if you're looking for something that's, again, I keep saying the word modern. If you want more like a modern design, maybe use the sans font. But again, it's like Glenn was saying. It's like what are you going after? Like, for instance, if I made a shirt with the word love on it, Would I use, like a Times New Roman or a Helvetica? Maybe not. Maybe I'll play around with a nice script font, which goes really well with the word love, right?
Hmm.
Or maybe if I made a shirt that said computer on it, maybe I'll purchase one of those novelty fonts where the font looks like a digital computer screen font. So what are you going after?
Like a
Right.
pixel,
So
I
it really
guess.
depends on what you're going after. Again, there's no right or wrong answer, but I mean, um, it's up to you. But just use. Uh, how can I say this best? And I don't want to say common sense. Just oh gosh, it's just really hard for me to
Did you
put
just
these
say
words
use
out.
Common Sans? Comic
Co-
Sans? Is that what
Comic
you
Sans.
said?
Again, man, I'll slap somebody if they use Comic Sans.
Oh,
Um,
Common Sense.
common sense, man.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, I think that's what we're gonna go through, going through like the good fonts and the bad fonts. We can kind of like go through that because I think that'll definitely help. But one thing I for sure would you would not want to do with any font is to stretch out the font. And what I mean by this, if you type it in,
yeah.
whether you're in Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever you're in, and then you just drag it, you click on it, you drag it, and you're stretching out the font. You don't want to do that. You're going to distort the font, and it's going to look really weird, really stretched, really, I don't know, kind of like elongated, fat type of font where you're just kind of messing it up. I would really,
You're
all you got to
right.
do is hold down the shift key, but
Yeah.
hold down the shift key and make sure it comes out exactly how it's supposed to look.
Yeah. So basically, what Glenn is saying is, if you don't hold down the shift key and you try to, well, first of all, you have to create in order to do that. And this is obviously for Illustrator. Um, if before you even do that, you have to create an outline on your font. And if that doesn't make sense to you, again, I've always said I don't want to give Illustrator tutorials, but just a quick tutorial. When you're in Illustrator and you type whatever word you want to type out, for instance, again, I'll just use the word love. Let's say I typed out the word love. Um, you want to go up top. I can't remember exactly where in Illustrator it is on the top of my head, but you want to create an outline. And what that does is it now makes your letters, your fonts that you just typed out, scalable, and you can do various things to it.
Mhm.
So so what Glenn is saying, when you do that, always hold down the shift button when you scale it up or down, because if you don't do that, you're going to lose the proportions of it's just going to look really weird.
Yeah.
You want to keep that proportion. So always hold down the ooh, man, I almost knocked off my headset. You always want to hold down the shift key. um so let's talk about tracking,
Okay.
or better yet, let's talk about kerning.
Okay. Better yet, let's talk about letting. Just just talk about everything. Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about kerning, okay? And I had someone come up to me. They heard the episode where I was saying it takes me about 30 minutes to do, um, per design, and they're like,
Because of the
oh well,
kerning.
and they're like, oh, but all you're doing is typing, and see, and this is where it tells me that the person is, and it's not and I'm not dissing the person, but it's just they're obviously just uneducated. Just because your design is text design doesn't mean that all you do is type. Okay, there are certain things you can do to really clean up your design.
Uneducated on the matter, not
Huh?
uneducated in general.
What was that?
They're uneducated on the matter, not
Okay.
uneducated in general. I'm just kidding.
Oh, did I say in general?
No,
Oh
you
my
just said
God.
uneducated, period. I mean, I
Oh,
was
okay,
like, man,
okay.
he still got some
Man,
heat from
man,
earlier.
I'm so pissed off. Damn it. But yeah, no, they're uneducated in design. So the guy goes, well, all you're doing is typing, man. Why does it take you 30 minutes? I'm like, well, there's a thing called kerning. Okay, and if you guys don't know, so when you guys type something in Illustrator, it doesn't always look good, and the kerning is the spacing in between each letter. Okay, by default, Illustrator is not gonna evenly distribute those letters where it looks super clean. You have to go in there manually and distribute the spacing yourself. And there's a couple of ways that I know that you can do it, but and that's why it takes me so long, like 30 minutes per design, because I'm in there cleaning up the spacing. Okay, so that's kerning. How about tracking?
Well, if you want to go back, you can actually go through all of these. If you guys are on your desktop right now, let's say you have Illustrator open, you can go to Window, you can go to Type, and then you go to Character. And there, of course, you'll see your fonts because you can pick whatever font you want to use, the font style. But while you're there, you'll see underneath that, you'll find the tracking, the leading, and the kerning. And then they're right next to the font size. They're all right there in the same box, and you can kind of mess with that if you want to mess with the kerning on there to see what looks good, I guess, for your design. So the kerning again is a spacing in between each letter.
And and there's actually a really cool article which I'm going to read out to you guys. No, I'm not going to do that, but I'll definitely put the link in the show notes. It discusses all this, and it'll make better sense because you guys can visually see what what we're talking about. So I'll put that in the show notes.
Okay.
But
and then tracking. We talk about tracking next.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Go for it.
And tracking is the area within like the full word that you're typing out. So the word love, we want to see the tracking for the full word, not just the spacing for the full word, not just the individual letter.
And gosh, and there's just so much, right? There's the alignment, align left, align center, align right.
Right.
I mean, we can just go on and on, right? I mean, but we're obviously just giving you guys like just a basic foundation of typography.
And then the leading. So the leading would be let's say if your shirt was I don't know, Merry Christmas, but let's say you placed it Merry and then the first line and then Christmas. The second line. So now the leading is going to be the space in between those top, 2 lines, the Merry and the Christmas. And that you can move up or down, however much you want to do that. But leading, kerning, and tracking all have to do with the typeface. You can kind of see what looks good for your design.
I mean, there's a whole science to typography. I mean, I've read articles and books where the author just, they get really deep into this whole topic. But so you want to talk about the fun part and talk about the ugly fonts?
The great fonts and then the crappy fonts. What would it be for, I guess, great fonts? Like good fonts that people normally use or things that you would see on I don't know, posters, brochures. We talked about Helvetica, Times New Roman, I would say used quite a bit, of course, very popular. Futura,
that's
is a good one. What are some other good ones? I guess
I have to admit, and Helvetica, and I know it's quite common, but that's always been one of my favorite fonts.
Yeah.
In fact,
Trade Gothic. I really like Trade Gothic.
In fact, Helvetica is so popular that there's a documentary just on that font. Have you seen that, Glenn?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen it.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
There is a documentary on the damn font. How crazy is that?
Franklin Gothic, Avenir is a good one. Bodoni is part of the serif fonts, is a good one. So those I'd probably say are the good ones. The bad ones, however, are totally different. And I mean, you can type these in if you want to look at them just on a Google search, but you're gonna know exactly where you've seen these, unfortunately. But Comic Sans is usually number 1 when it comes to like the worst fonts ever made and or used.
So there's Comic Sans. There's was it Papyrus?
Papyrus?
Oh gosh, I can't stand that one. And then
Papyrus, yeah, it's kind of funny because it's just they try to make it look. How would you even like?
well, they try to make it almost almost like a script. No, it's not a script, but they try to make it look
Kind of like distressed, like
they try to make it look really fancy, I guess. I don't know. It's just hard to describe. Just look it up. Google PAPYRUS
yeah, kind
font.
of like an ancient type of like I don't know, like people would use for like embossing or it tries to look fancy, but it really ends up kind of looking corny when you end up using it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, stay away from Papyrus. I wouldn't use that.
Um, and another one I can't stand is the stencil font. If you guys don't know what that is, that's the 1980 stencil where you would put your stencil and then just use your spray can to spray the letters on the surface.
For garage sale.
Yeah, things like that. Gosh, I can't
Yeah.
stand that either. Um,
What about I mean these are just common ones that mostly you'd find, I guess, like in a I guess like a Microsoft stuff, but like brush script. I don't know if you ever seen that before, but that one is pretty bad.
Mhm.
It's up there. Or like curls. Have you ever seen curls?
yeah, I've seen that. That's almost it's like a childish like a
Yeah.
it's like a font made for kids, like 5, 6 year old would really appreciate. Again, something that I personally would never use. um but yeah, I mean, there's a long list of them. There's a long list of fonts out there that's good and bad. But again, it's something that I find really really attractive. Other might say, well, that's ugly. I mean, really, it's just in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
What about impact? Do you know where you've seen impact from, or
Yeah.
where would these people see the font impact on?
Oh gosh, I can't really say where they can find it, but it almost looks like a very robust, like a voluptuous version of Helvetica.
Yeah, I mean it is a sans serif font, and it is kind of more of like more narrow than than fat or anything. But impact is the official font used on internet memes.
Is that right? Get out of
Yes,
here!
sir.
Are you serious?
Yes, sir.
I never knew that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!
Yeah.
No,
If you
no,
wanna,
no wonder I hate looking at memes. No, seriously, I absolutely, despise looking at them, man. It's just,
what? I love memes.
nah, man, it's a waste of time. Come on, are you kidding me?
Young.
Hey, you know what?
Internet memes.
Maybe it's just maybe it's my age speaking. I just, I find them just a waste of my time. So that's just me, man. That's just me. Um, so we talked about the type of fonts. We talked about some of the more good, the good classical fonts, and then we obviously talked about the ugly fonts.
Mhm.
Let's talk about where they can purchase some of these. Again, we talked about this in the past, but we really want to encourage you guys to go out and purchase fonts, okay? Because the reason being is because um, a lot of artists, a lot of graphic designers, these fonts don't just come from anywhere, okay? There are people that make a living creating fonts, okay? And, that's how they put a roof over their head. And when you go to these bootleg websites and you download them for free, you're taking food out of people's mouth. That's not something that we want you to do, okay? I mean, you guys are always talking about, oh man, I got a copycat, I got a copycat for my shirt, for my design. Um, well, when you're going to these bootleg websites, um, you're technically kind of doing the same thing. You're stealing from them.
Mhm.
And that's not something that we want to encourage. Really, what Glenn and I, as designers, want to tell you guys is pay that price, pay the premium price, pay for it. Again, because not only is it ethical, but if something does happen and Amazon comes and say, oh, well, this font isn't licensed. If you paid for it, well, now you have proof saying, no, it is licensed. I paid for it. Here's the invoice. So let's talk about some good websites where they can purchase some of these fonts. You want to start with one?
I mean, they are pricey. It really just depends on what you're looking for. This is if you were, I think, like really going, I don't know, crazy on different fonts that you really wanted to get different ones. But fontshop.com has a lot of different fonts you can choose from and buy, but there's some pricey packages. Like you're talking about designers, making money and supporting. I mean, there's some on here for like $3.99, $300, $1,300 for like a full, family. But I mean, there's some good fonts. I'm not gonna lie, actually, a lot of good fonts. But fontshop.com, of course, the free ones that we had talked about, thefont.com, which
and that's
you can get free ones, but of course you'd have to go through the filters to make sure that it is free, that you can use it, whether it's personal use or if you're gonna make money. Reselling things.
Yeah, and just to kind of reiterate, you can. So the font, typically, a majority of those fonts on there are free. I have seen some ones that that you have to pay for, and they have a lot of novelty fonts where they get really creative, and it's crazy some of the stuff that you'll find on there. But again, like Glenn said, it's your responsibility. Just because it's free doesn't mean you can use them just for that, for whatever. Read the license, because a lot of them will say, even though they're free, they're only for personal use. So if you guys want to use it for commercial use, make sure you download that license and you read it thoroughly. If it doesn't have a license, try and contact the creator. I mean, that's the best suggestion that I have. I mean, or if it doesn't have a license, I just wouldn't even bother using it, period.
Okay, what else do you like?
One of my favorite shops, and I use this all the time, myfonts.com, myfonts.com. I purchase about 90% of my fonts on there. Again, some of them could be pricey, but again, it's if you typically, from my experience, when you purchase the whole type family, that's when it gets really expensive, right? Because now you're paying for the regular font, you're paying for the italics, the bold, the semi-bold, and if you buy all that within, as a family, like Glenn said, I mean, I've seen prices like $1,200 and stuff, but you can buy them individually. Like if you just want just the italics, you can buy them. You can just buy just the italics alone. But yeah, I mean, just get into the habit of purchasing these fonts again. And Glenn, I know this for a fact. As soon as this episode's done, people are going to see the prices and they're going to go back to downloading bootleg fonts. And you know what? If you're doing that, I'm okay with it, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to get kicked off. I'm not worried about that. But if you're ethical, your business will go a long way. And there's other sites. There's there's a site called Creative Market. Have you ever heard of that, Glenn? Okay, so Creative Market, they sell fonts, but they also sell graphics. So you guys might want to check them out. There's some
fontspring.com is a good one. They're one of those sites that has like package deals. Like 50% off now, 66% off now, or special offers. And you can get like, I don't know, 20 fonts at once or 12 fonts at once.
And there's a bunch of those websites too. So so if you come across any of them, sign up for the newsletter, because they'll send you like a weekly email on deals. I mean, I've purchased a bunch of fonts from sites like that.
So that one is fontspring.com. If you just want to fool around and see fonts, and this is more for like websites and embedding fonts and stuff like that. But fonts.google.com, you can see pretty much, a lot of the font and font families. You can actually go down by category to see serif and sans serif and different handwriting ones if you wanted to. You can type in whatever word or sentence and see how it looks. If you just wanted to see what stuff looks like, just to kind of test it out.
Yeah, of course. I think that's pretty much it. I think we I think we're going in on an hour. I can't recall what time we started. Well, I guess we can keep going
Young,
if
we
you
will
want.
keep going.
Let's go. You know what? Let's make this a never-ending podcast. We're not going to stop, guys. We're going to keep talking 24 hours. No, just, you know what?
We're gonna have like one of the shows is going to be like one of those things where we just go on for like 24 hours and just see like how much we can talk about merch. But I don't know when, but it is gonna happen.
Well, you know what? You can count me out for that one because I'm not going to participate in that, man. Just
24-hour merch
oh my
minds.
gosh, that would be crazy. That's like the Jerry Lewis telethon. You just keep going.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's what we have to do. But anyways, I guess I can just go a little bit about a couple of books that one of the books that I kind of went on when I was in college that I learned from. I actually bought this book for my brother too when he was going through graphic design school. But Typeface: Classic Typography for Contemporary Design. And you'll find this if you want to type that in on Amazon. You can probably put that in the notes if you can do that.
I'll put that in the show notes. Yeah.
But it's only about $14.99. You can get the paperback book, and I use it. Might be, and it's not outdated because really a lot of these fonts will always hold true. But they do show you just how they're used and how people have used them on flyers, posters, brochures. There's some t-shirt designs on there, CD arts for different bands and stuff, and how they have used some of these fonts. So that one, you can look at that one. Another one is Lettering and Type: Creating Letters and Designing Typefaces. And that one you could probably put in. I'll give you the links so you can put that in the show notes too. But that one is also you can get that on Amazon. It's about $16. Same thing you can kind of see on lettering and type and how to use them and just different examples. So those are kind of the two ones that I've personally used and seen. So
okay. I have to admit, when I was taking classes, I didn't have any textbooks.
Yeah. No. Well, we didn't have textbooks, but this is just from my personal stuff.
Okay, for your own. Okay, because I was gonna say,
I just thought it was a cool book.
Yeah, I was gonna say they never assigned any books, because it's a design class, right? Technically, you don't need a textbook, because you're spending a lot of your time on the computer. So I thought maybe these were books that they had told you to buy, but
no. These are just like for your own personal stuff. If you're interested in learning, I used it just for kind of like inspiration and to see what looks good, because I didn't know anything about fonts when I was like cool, and of course like serif and sans serif fonts and what was good or what was not good. So I kind of used it for that, and like I said, I bought one for my brother too, and he kind of used it a little bit in some of his design projects. But it's kind of good just to see what looks good and what people have done.
Hey, are you gonna buy me a copy?
You know what? Let's get you a copy, especially when you come down. You'd be like, you know what? That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. You got all that merch money. I mean, the least you can do is buy me a book.
That's a good trade for the Jordan 11s that you're gonna get me. That's a really good trade.
Oh my gosh!
That's a great Christmas gift. So I'll look forward to that when you come.
I don't. Unfortunately, I don't celebrate Christmas. I can't get you the Jordans.
Okay. Well, at least you can get me a gift just for being cool. Cool co-host.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Of course, but yeah, I have to check out those books. I'm kind of curious myself.
Yeah, and the thing is now though is you can see a lot of this stuff. Of course, online and Google Images and just seeing what people have used Helvetica on.
I mean, there's tons of information online. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you don't even have to get the book if you don't want to, but at the time, it was really really good. I graduated in I think I used it back in like 2007, 2008. Something like 8 years, I guess, since I've been.
But like you said, I mean, even though you originally bought it back in 2007, I mean, fonts don't ever go away. I mean, again, Times New Roman, it's been around for years. It's not ever going to go away. So I'm sure a lot of that content in the book is pretty up to date.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, guys, I mean, there's we can go on and talk about typography, but obviously we're just kind of giving you the basic foundation. I mean, there's a whole science to it. I mean, you know, some of the stuff that I remember when I was in school, you know, some of the stuff that my instructor would talk about, just he would give us these long lectures, and it just kept going and going and going. You know, some of these lectures were like for 2 or 3 days long. So, I mean, seriously, I mean, um, you know, like I said, I mean, we can go on for days. But really, we just want to really present you guys just the basics and give you a foundation of how type works. And I hope we did that with this episode. I mean, I always feel like when we do a podcast, Glenn, that it's just you and I just kind of goofing around, and I'm hoping and I'm hoping that it's informative, and I think it is because um, a lot of the feedback that we've gotten has been very positive, and thank you, and you know, for everyone that's written us, you know, I at least, I don't know about you, man. I can only speak for myself. I do respond to every single message that I
yeah, me
get.
too.
So we appreciate it, but
And keep
yeah,
sending those questions because we might, well, not might, we're probably going to do like a Q&A show.
of course.
So we can cover maybe just because it's just going to be, I mean, there's a lot of people that have the same questions. So I think it is good to cover those all at once. And we can just, you know, give our own feedback and what we think about it. So send those questions in. What is your email again, Yong? Let them know.
You know what? It'll be in the show notes. I hate saying it because, you know, people, you know, then I have to spell it out. It'll be in the show notes.
Okay.
And I'll put your email in the show notes as well.
Okay.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. You know, and I just want to say this, Glenn. This is our 11th episode, and right before we went live here, we checked our numbers. So for the last 10 episodes, we're closing in on 10,000, almost 10,000 downloads. That's almost 1,000 downloads per episode, and Glenn and I are so grateful for really just, again, I feel like we're just kind of talking amongst friends, but clearly people are listening. But guys, come on, almost 10,000 downloads, and yet we only have a handful of reviews. Please, if you guys want us to continue, do us a huge favor, go onto iTunes, leave us a review, even if, you know, it doesn't even have to be a positive review. You know, if you're doing something wrong, you know, if we can somehow make the show better, let us know in the review. That is the only way that we're going to get better, because otherwise, Glenn and I, we don't know. And so your feedback is not only appreciated, but you know, we actually welcome it. So please do us that favor. I mean, we're closing in on 10,000 downloads, so we know that there are people out there listening.
You just said we were goofing off, so I don't think that's good for our reviews, but
Well, no, I mean, isn't that how you feel though? Like every time you and I get on here, you know, we just kind of talk. You know, we have a good time.
it feels natural, you know.
Yeah, it's natural, but at the same time, I want to make it informative. And you know, I have to admit, the first 2-3 episodes before we even gotten any feedback, I wasn't sure how good of a job we were doing. And then all of a sudden, we started getting those messages, right? You know, oh, you guys are doing a good job. You know, people emailing us, and we're like, oh man, you know, we're onto something here. And then I remember you like, hey man, we gotta do this every week now, because remember originally we were doing it every other week because we didn't know what the feedback or the reaction was going to be like. But obviously you guys are enjoying the podcast, and again, we're so grateful that you guys are. Yeah, that you guys are taking the time to download and listening to us going on rants and talking about people getting suspended, and you know, me getting all pissed off, and but yeah, no, you know what, it's all in good fun, and Glenn and I really do enjoy doing these. So again, guys, we know you're out there, man. Come on, take 2 minutes out of your day. Go to iTunes and leave us a review. That'd be much appreciated. Glenn, any closing thoughts?
Just same thing. I think if you're in the El Paso area, then let us know. I know El Paso is, well, it's where I live. We're a small town, small but growing.
Mhm.
But if you're somewhat in the area, or you know what, even during that time, anybody wants to talk to us, leave us an email, leave me an email, hustlerhacks1 @gmail.com. We'll figure something out. I just like providing value. I think that's like the most important thing when it comes to the podcast. It's just some type of value. I know it might feel like we're just kind of hanging out, which is cool to me, but I like to provide value, and I think a lot of people have
course.
learned a couple of things from it. So I think that's awesome, and thank you guys for listening to us.
Yeah. And before we sign off, Glenn, I just got back from Nashville.
Yes, sir.
I'm happy to report that my laptop did not get stolen this time.
Nice. There's one up right there.
Oh my
On a
gosh.
positive note.
Yeah, right? So, guys, thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you.